Hello, Sam here. How are we all doing? Hope we're all doing very well. Just want to jump into a video and talk about some of the compulsions that kept me stuck. Now, I plan to do a series of videos talking about various compulsions that I did, things that kept me stuck, ones that I refused to give up for so long, little subtle ones as well. So I'm going to do a series of videos on that. Now, today's video is avoidance. Now, I wanted to speak about this one in detail because this is something that I did very, very often, so much avoidance. And I would say it was my main compulsion, partaking in so much avoidance to a point where my life was completely restricted, living in that mental prison, that mental trap that we talk about. So the boundaries are gradually getting smaller and smaller, and there was just so much avoidance there. So yeah, I wanted to speak about that in a lot of detail in this video. Okay, so I'm going to give some examples of stuff that happened to me. I'm sure you can relate to. There's all various themes. There's not just one theme and that's it. Or how avoidance plays a part in OCD in general. Okay, so I'm going to talk about POCD avoidance. All right, my main predominant theme, along with all other guilt-related themes, but POCD was really sticky for me. Took me a little while to get over. A lot of work on my beliefs, but it was the main theme, and the chronic guilt and the chronic shame ramped up 24/7. All right, so how did I avoid in regards to POCD? So I avoided lots of family members, lots of friends. If there was a child there, I'd avoid that. If we go into a party, I'd avoid that, make up some excuse why I couldn't attend. Just constantly looking for a way out. Oh no, I can't go to that. Even to a point there might be a picture of a child there, so I wouldn't be able to go. I'd go into a panic, go into a spiral. So I do all I can to avoid that party, avoid that gathering, whatever it may be. Okay, I avoided certain routes. So walking routes. I might have avoided parks or walking past a school or walking past anywhere that's going to slightly trigger me, crossing the road and things like that. So that, and then my routes and where I was going was getting more and more restricted because avoidance was playing such a big part in my life. And beaches, swimming pools, massive triggers for me. Hence why I avoided them. Even the talk of going to the beach, holiday was difficult, swimming pools, and it was a very difficult time, constantly triggered all the time, just didn't want to go. Even the conversation, I was like, no, don't want to go, not for me, I hate beaches, blah, 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 things like that. Just staying in that avoidance trap and letting OCD call the shots, and OCD just having all the reins and having all the decisions of my life. All right, that was the cycle that I was in. Avoidance just kept me in that mental prison that we talk about. All right, exercise, and this is not just POCD. This is all the themes. It could be harm OCD. Let me give an example of what I mean by that. How I avoided exercise in that respect. Now, I was probably about 18 at the time, and I wanted to go for a run. All right, now, I said to my now fiance, can you watch me? So she'd be in the bedroom window looking out, and I'm running up and down, sort of running round the block, okay, because it was dark. I was so scared I was going to see someone and do something that I can't remember, lose control. Absolutely crazy when I think back now, but that was the grip, and that was the control CD had on me. Okay, I didn't want to go for a run without being watched, or I'd even think about filming myself as I'm running, just in case I didn't lose control and did something. Absolutely crazy. All right, so that was an example of what happened with me. And back with POCD, so sitting at desks at work, there might be a family photo, okay, so I'd avoid sitting there. Oh no, I can't sit there. Just make up some bullshit excuse. No, I can't sit there because I'm getting triggered. I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate at work, and I'm going to lose my job. Blah blah blah. Avoiding sitting next to people with kids, just in case they spoke about them, just in case they showed me photos, showed me videos of them, or bring them in. I remember one time, someone brought a child in, and I ran out the office in panic. in tears, and I'd say, oh, I'm ill, or I'm like sweating. I went in complete panic attack, complete meltdown. Okay, that's how bad I was. And like I said, I pretended I was ill, headache, or migraine, blah blah blah. All right, so very difficult times. All right. I avoided social media. I remember deleting Instagram, okay, just in case I scrolled down and saw a photo of a child. I thought, oh no, that's it. And that was triggering me. I had a thought at an unwanted time, or I don't know if I've accidentally liked that, and just things like that, to get that rabbit hole that we go down. Okay, so I remember deleting all social media apps, not them all, but Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, just not going on at all. And if I did, be very controlled of what I looked at. I'm sure it's stuff that you can relate to, but the avoidance was so much. Like I said, my life was very limited. The quality of my life completely limited, and I had to be in control. I'm thinking like drinking like that. If I wasn't in control, I was scared. I said something out loud, said a thought out loud, said a false memory, said a real event out loud, and that was it. Ramped up with chronic guilt. So I'd then avoid drinking, I'd avoid going out, I'd avoid socialising. All right. Yeah, I know I've said this before, but I can't highlight enough. I was totally consumed by it, to a point that I was borderline housebound. All right, I'd leave the house for work, but any socialising. I even avoided going to like football matches. I mean, I absolutely love my sport. I love football. I love my cricket. I love my horse racing. I love all my sports, but I avoided going to that just in case I got triggered, or I'd have an unwanted thought, and then wouldn't be able to go because I'd be riddled with guilt. And if only they knew, blah, blah, blah. All right, so completely consumed my life, and the quality was getting more and more restricted, and yeah, completely limited. All right, other parts of avoidance, not just particularly POCD, but OCD in general. So avoiding sexual intimacy, scared of any intrusive thought coming in at a wanted time, whether it's an intrusive thought of a family member, of a friend. It could be absolutely anything you don't want is going to throw in there. So I then avoid having sex. I'd avoid any sexual intimacy, okay, because of the chronic, intense guilt and shame that I felt. And the moment would feel completely ruined, okay? I'd have to stop. I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate. So I then avoided that. Right. I thought at the time that was a wise thing to do. I thought, if I avoid, that's it, I'm in my safe place, I'm in my comfort trap, I'm going to avoid all triggers. But then OCD would just move the goalposts, it would move the boundaries, find something else, and keep me going down that compulsion cycle, keep me going down the avoidance, and just keep me locked in, okay? Only when I have stopped all avoidance and thought, fuck it, I'm going to bring it along for the ride, I'm going to do this regardless of how I'm feeling, did progress start to happen. All right, I can't highlight that enough. All right, harm OCD. Like I said, I had most of the guilt-related themes. Harm OCD was a big one. Not latched as much as POCD, but that's only based on my beliefs and my fears and my perspectives at the time. But it certainly did latch with harm. And then we go into the kitchen a lot and avoiding knives, avoiding just like the peeling, or any utensil, any sharp object I avoided. Okay, if someone was in the kitchen, I then make sure I sort of faced away from them, and if I got a knife out the drawer, I'd go like the long way round and things like that. Just avoidance all the time, 24/7, no matter what activity I was doing, there was some avoidance in there. Okay, avoiding situations of close contact. Now, people from the UK will understand what I mean when I talk about when you're on the underground in London, okay? When it's absolutely packed, absolutely rammed on a 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and you can hardly move. Now, I'd avoid that, so I try and or avoid the underground and sort of try and get a taxi there, or try and get a bus where it was less busy, because I was scared I was accidentally elbow someone, or bump into someone, lean into someone, and they then fall down, and then I'd be the blame for that. You can see how the avoidance builds up, because you're so scared of feeling the guilt. I remember even just walking past someone in the street, I'd put my hands in my pocket, or just in case my shoulders slightly brushed past them, I remember looking behind me like that for about 20 times. If they look back, have they done anything? And then I'd be apologising profusely to them if they did say something, or just if I accidentally bumped into someone. Also, I'm so sorry, are you okay? I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Just over the top apologising. All right, that's even just with saying stuff as well. So if I said a joke that was mildly offensive to someone, and I'd just be apologising like mad, and like, Sam, you've apologised, all right? I wouldn't even offended, but you've apologised a million times anyway. Can you just shut up, please? I've had people say that to me, all right? Because it wasn't enough for OCD. I had to know they were completely fine. They weren't going to report me. They weren't going to tell my boss and get me sacked. Just things like that. All right. I had driving OCD or hit and run OCD, whatever you want to call it. I had that a lot. That was quite bad, linked with the chronic guilt and the shame ramped up, and my life was ruined if the event that I was going to, so the football match, for example, that would be ruined. My holiday I've got next week, that would be ruined. Was I a bit too close to that cyclist? Was I a bit too close to that pedestrian? Okay, I had that a lot as I was driving. So what did I do? I avoided driving. I avoided motorways. I avoided busy times that people would be driving, so rush hour. Okay, and trying to find routes that I could walk instead or take public transport, so I could just avoid, wouldn't have any discomfort, go down the comfort trap. I know, I'll just sit on the bus anyway, even though I'll be triggered on the bus or something else. But yeah, I just know I can't drive. I can't possibly take the risk of hitting someone or causing an accident. Yeah, wow. I'm talking about this now. I remember when I wrote down all this avoidance that I did. It's like, fucking hell. Like it took up so much, consumed so much. It's quite hard. But I'm also doing this video because I want to give you hope as well. So when you are doing these avoidance, there is so much hope. I did all this. Okay, I'm in a much better place now. Really good place. And there is so much hope. I've been in your shoes, so I completely understand the struggle of how convincing it feels, how real it feels to do this avoidance, and you think you're going to be safe, but no, it's just OCD's bluff. It's going to find something else. It's going to move the boundaries. All right. This was a slightly different one, but it still does relate to avoidance, and that was avoiding any talk of new themes to anyone. Okay. And that was I remember talking about existential or sensory motor, and just thinking, fuck, I don't really know. I was quite early on to my journals. I don't really know how this works. And then they would tell me, and I'm like, oh fuck, no, I don't want to be triggered. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to cope. I was scared it was going to latch forever, linked into the fear of fear. But yeah, I avoided I just wanted to talk about my OCD, stuff that I knew had to get over or overcome in the past, and just had a relapse, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to stick to the comfort and avoid anything that I might get triggered by something else and not be able to cope. All right. Avoiding difficult decisions, any bit of conflict, any bit of controversy, and that links into the responsibility OCD of making the wrong decision or saying something that someone doesn't like, a bit of conflict, bit of disagreement. These situations it's gonna happen in life where you're not gonna agree with everyone. That is not the reality of life. You're gonna have to say stuff that people aren't gonna like. People are gonna say things to you that you're not gonna like. That is the reality of life. So I would avoid those situations. So avoiding having a conversation with my boss about a pay rise, or if I thought something that wasn't quite fair, I say the workload or something like that. I'd avoid anything like that, and just stay in the comfort trap. No, avoid that. I don't want to. I'm struggling with OCD as it is. I don't want to raise anything. I don't want to have any more discomfort. Yeah, a lot of avoidance there. This is quite a sad one, because I avoided a lot of socialising, and I look back now. I don't look back obviously healthy regret, but I don't look back and go, fuck, I wish I'd done that more, because look what OCD has taught me now. The perspectives it has given me, how it's changed my life, how it's helped shape my beliefs for a much more empowering, better life, that I can't go, oh, I wish I did this. But I avoided a lot of socialising, seeing friends, seeing family, and that was more to, if only they knew, because when I was suffering really bad with POCD, false memory real event OCD, I was just caught up in my head all the time. So if I would avoid going out for a few beers, avoiding like a barbecue with my family, avoiding a picnic, because if only they knew this, if only you knew I had this thought at this really unwanted time, you'd be saying all this to me, you'd be telling me to F off, and all these thoughts that we think as OCD sufferers. So I avoided all that, stayed in the comfort trap, wanted to stay at home, scroll on my phone, watch Netflix, watch sport from the comfort of my home, any challenging, difficult situation I wanted to avoid. All right, and it all links into the, if you're getting judged or rejected, if only they knew, blah, blah, blah. All right. Now, I talk about that a lot, but the if only they knew aspect, I was stuck with that for so many years. I remember just being in so many places and just thinking, like, I'll be having a conversation with them. It's like a misted glass where if you asked me what the conversation was 2 minutes later, I wouldn't have a clue. Because I'm just thinking, oh my God, if only you knew this. Oh, you wouldn't speak to me like that. You wouldn't compliment me. You wouldn't like me. And I'm just, obviously, I'm engaged in the conversation, but because if you ask them, they wouldn't have a clue. But in my own mind, as I'm sure you can relate to, your mind's elsewhere, your mind's racing, and you're thinking all these different thoughts. If only they knew, blah, blah, blah. All right. Another big one of mine, avoiding like cuddling pets, because you're scared of an intrusive thought, an intrusive urge at that time. So you'd avoid that. I remember from quite a young age, actually, when I lived back with my parents, we had a cat. And just like cuddling that, and then I get a thought, and I'm gonna have to just leave the cat and run off, and just pretend I or just didn't look at the cat again, and just things like that. Just that was from when I was like 15, 16, and just that avoidance. And then I wouldn't want to speak about pets and things because I'd be locked up with guilt, just because the thought came in at that time. But yeah, I avoided so much. All right, and I could go on all night. I could go on for about half an hour talking about all the avoidance that I did, but I'm sure you get the gist of what I mean and how much it controlled my life. The reason I'm doing this video is to inspire you and hopefully, obviously give you hope, but motivate you to put in the work and not avoid, all right? It kept me stuck. It's a dead end. It got me nowhere. Okay, I don't look back and go, wish I did some more compulsions. No. Okay, I wish I stopped them earlier. Yes, you're going to feel like shit when you do. Okay, it's like a drug addict giving up a drug, and then soon, if you give up your compulsions, the day after you're not going to be fine. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel like you can't do it. You're going to feel like you have to do the compulsion to feel safe again. You feel like you can't sit with the guilt, the panic, the anxiety, all these feelings that come with it. Okay, I can't highlight the importance of that enough. Okay, it does need to stop. All right, over time, as you break down your beliefs and shift your perspectives, the urge to avoid will go down, but initially you need to do all you can to stop that. Gradually break it down or just cut them out altogether. And of course, it's going to be difficult, but you really can do it. All right, there is so much hope. I've been in your shoes, and I totally understand the struggle with it completely restricting your life. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like. That'd be much appreciated. Any comments, any feedback, any questions for me, please leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. And if you're interested in our one-to-one services, webinar services, WhatsApp groups, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll be more than happy to help. Anyway, you take care. Have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye-bye. I'll see you again.